Now I'm thinking, well, not everyone. I remember kind of thinking that someone maybe wasn't surprised, and let's pretend I have 20 interview participants in here. I want to find someone that feels frustrated. So this is where we can actually use the query feature. So I'm going to go into query up here, and I'm going to look for a text search. So the query really is just another word for search or explore. And so there is this query wizard that will kind of walk you through the steps of each one. You could look for particular terms. You can identify frequently occurring terms, and then you could search for content based on how it's coded. So it's really kind of seeing where your nodes overlap or where participants' answers overlap. And since we aren't going to have a ton of data in here right now, we're not going to do that third one. But I definitely recommend that you explore this when you get your own software. So we're going to click this, see where particular terms occur in content. I'm not going to click next because what I do next is going to represent the same thing. This is just a wizard to kind of walk us through the process. So I'm going to go up to query, and I'm going to go text search. And this is our query. So this is really an explore feature, a search feature. And I want to find someone that feels negative, because it's hard for me to believe that every nurse that I've interviewed that's worked with doctors has only surprise feelings. So, I could look for words that are frustrated or positive words and see if anyone had positive feelings. So every query kind of pops up like a tab like this, and it's going to ask you, what do you want to look in? Do you want to look in all your sources? And for my sake right now, I don't want to look at all my sources, because remember, one of the sources I uploaded was that memo and note to self, and those are my words. So I don't want NVivo to look at my words and me think that they're the participants' words. So I'm going to click selected items. I'm going to uncheck automatically select subfolders, because if you did have a ton of information in here, make sure that you're really clicking exactly what you want NVivo to explore. And I'm going to choose just the 3 participants' transcriptions and then click OK. And then I'm going to tell NVivo what I want to look for. So I'm going to look for the word frustrated. And then in order to have a little bit more of a return search and not so limited, I'm going to click with stemmed words. So instead of just frustrated, it could be frustration, etc. And then I'm going to click run query. And look here, it says participant 2 reference the word frustration or frustrated twice. And so that's great. So I can double click on this, and it'll take me right to where this person felt frustrated. And so, if I were to explore this information, I could find it very meaningful, and I could create a node and code this data right into a new node. So I'll do that. Right click, new node, frustrated. And then I can highlight the information and drag and drop. And the same here. That's with question 2, so we'll hit that later. At another time. And so that's a quick way of doing the query. So let's go back up to query, text search. I'm going to do it one more time because I want to show you the other options. Selected folders, unclick this, click all of these. Okay. And then with stemmed words, on query. So we looked at this one, we double click it. I showed you how you could go right to the document. We're going to look at it in the reference view. So there's a couple different views you can look at your return search. This is very similar. This is the same thing, just summarized. So I could code right from here and then put it over in a node. And then there's the text version, so you can see the actual source. If there was multiple participants, you would see multiple participants and everything that they said related to the word frustrating. And then there's this word tree, which a lot of people like. It's a nice visual aid, and it shows you the word frustrating as it appears in the sentences where it appears at. And so if I were to double click it or hover, it'll show me exactly who said and where. And if I right click any of my queries, any of the research information, returned information, you could export it into another document. And NVivo is smart enough to tell you what you can export it into. So this is going to say that I can export it into an image, a JPEG, a BMP, or a GIF. So you also can save your query. So it'll go away just like it did with me before as I was playing around with the tabs. But you can add to project. It'll make you name it. So I'm going to call it frustrated search. And click OK. And then over on our navigation menu under queries, it should be saved. So there it is saved. And if I wanted to go back to it at another time, I could just double click and it'll pop back up over here, frustrated search. So I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to go back to nodes. And we're going to do another query. So I'm going to show you the word frequency. And same thing, you have to tell NVivo whether you want to look at all your sources or just selected sources, and we're going to say selected. I'm going to choose all of my raw data and click OK. I don't think I have 1,000 words in here, but you never know. I'm going to put frequent, most used up to 100. And I'm going to say with stemmed words because, again, I think it gives more options when it gives you a return search. But I recommend that you try everything. If you're looking for the word frustrated, check it in for in the term, check it in exact match, and both with the stemmed words, and the same thing here. So I'm going to click Run Query. And here are all of my most frequently used words. And this would be a good jumping ground if I wanted to start thinking about what they were feeling and exploring their feelings. And so you can kind of go through these words right here on the right-hand side and see what the most frequently used words. So the way you can analyze this is that the word patient or similar words was used 13 times. And if I were to click it, it would take me to all the words as they appeared in the resources that I asked NVivo to look for. And same thing, you could code right from here. I also wanted to show you, so you can, if this was meaningful toward you as a list, I've seen some students put this right into their dissertation. You can export this list right into Excel, or into Excel, copy and paste and put it into Word. And it also creates this nice word cloud. I've seen a lot of students use this as well. I've heard, because I'm not in that stage yet, but I've heard you can't have colors in your dissertation. So no worries. Up here at the top, it gives you options. You can change the color. Now it's black and white. And again, you could add this to your project. And we're going to say the same thing. Word frequency. Okay. And then if you go over to queries, both of them will be saved here. So that's really how to use NVivo really quickly. You'll be able, with these basic concepts, you will be able to start using the software and create your own nodes and codes and start to analyze your data. I do want to make note that a lot of students I have think that NVivo analyzes the data for you, and it doesn't. It assists you in your analysis of your data by giving so many opportunities to explore your data and to save it and organize it, creating charts, etc. I do want to let you know that it will prompt you to save it frequently, and so if you try to exit out, it will ask you to save it. So save is just like Word, you just click the disk. And if you get confused ever and you want that help menu again and it's no longer available because you X'd out of that first, how to get started, you can click File, and then you have this help menu over here. And there's a lot of great resources here. It's the tutorials I talked about, the Getting Started guide. And if you were to purchase a one-year contract like I have, or you got the 2-week trial, you can go into this Manage License right from this menu, and it will walk you through how to extend your license right here.